Good evening and welcome to Shambhavi Spectrum. Today in the Marketing Magic Industry Insight series, I have Rama Menon with me, who is the director, founder of Counseling Point. She's an entrepreneur way ahead of her times, and she's going to share with me today what her journey has been like from the inception of Counseling Point. Thank you so much, Rama, for joining me here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Moha, for inviting me to your very special platform.
It's a pleasure to have you here and having interacted with you personally also. I know that the relationship that you have with the students or with the people who head out to Counseling Point becomes very personal. So tell me, how did you start this journey? What was the reason that you decided to start Counseling Point?
Okay. The year was 2005 when I first decided that I should go solo. I realized that in Dubai, there were so many students who were really unsure of what they wanted. And there was a lot of confusion in the minds of young people, young, high schoolers, as well as those that had just finished from university, as to what they should do next. And to bridge that gap and to help students understand themselves better and also to decide a future, a path for themselves, I decided to set up Counseling Point. And it was something very unusual here because in those times, counseling was really not as accepted or as popular as it has become today. So yes, it was something unusual.
I would have asked you that, how did people, what did they think? I mean, was it a person who was indecisive, thought to be actually approaching a counselor, or, what kind of, how did people approach you? How did they come? How did you get the word out?
Okay, so initially, even my name, Counseling Point, when I set up and I went to Dubai municipality to set it up, there were friends of mine, some of my Arab friends, even my Indian friends, they said, why would you call it Counseling Point? Call it Helping Hands, call it Tender Hearts, call it something else. So I said, if I don't believe in what I am actually advocating, then there is no point, because I truly believe that through counseling, we can bring about change, we can create a space where people are empowered to make their own choices and actualize their own vision. So with that hope, I went to the municipality and requested them, and I set it up. And the way it works is all through word of mouth. I have built goodwill over the years because I've been meeting with school children, with university students. I've also been part of various exhibitions. So you may not see advertisements of Counseling Point in the newspaper or in a magazine, but my greatest advocates are my own students, because they've had a happy experience, then they bring in more clients. Families who I have reached out to are the ones who refer more students.
So you've actually given us 2-3 lessons in marketing without my asking you, like in terms of why you chose a brand name. And a brand very simply should say what the company does, or what the organization stands for. And I think you've been very clear about why you chose. And again, word of mouth is something which is, how much ever people do advertising, even ultimately it is the word of mouth which carries more weight. So you've given us a couple of things to think about. Again, you've been an entrepreneur in times when entrepreneurship or going into business was not so easy in this part of the world. People used to think a lot about it. So who supported you, mentored you, and encouraged you at that point? Was it family, friends? Who were there with you?
Okay, so one of the persons who really believed in my vision, other than family, my husband, was my very dear friend, Raylin Lawrence was her name. Unfortunately, 8 years ago, we lost her to cancer, but she was the one person who introduced me to Dubai municipality for the very first time. And after that, all these years, I have used no PRO, I have used no other external company. I've been doing all of this on my own. Even this morning, I actually went to Dubai Economic Department to renew my license. So it's not difficult. If you truly believe in what you're doing, everything happens. You just have to find out. You just have to find out what are the steps. You can, even in 2005, we had a separate dedicated space for women entrepreneurs. And even the municipal head at that time, actually, I went and met her because the people at the counter didn't understand the concept and didn't understand what I was trying to actually establish. So when I went and spoke, then they asked me what I had done in the past. So I spoke about what I had done in India, the NGO that I work with and all of that. And they said, oh, we really need you. We don't have something like this. So there wasn't just one person who mentored me. It has always been a lot of people who have believed in what I also believe. So it has been a common vision, and happily so. And my family, my husband and my son, my mom, they've always stood by me, and so have my school friends, college friends. I really believe that enthusiasm is infectious. I'm very enthusiastic about what I do. So it kind of causes ripples, and everybody else gets get drawn into it.
So I'm sorry about your friend, but I'm so glad to hear, because this is one of the things which entrepreneurs face is loneliness. If they are alone and they can't discuss their ideas and things, then it is very difficult for them. So you have family and friends and even your college friends. That's a great support system which you have built for yourself. I'm sure that's also because of your nature of meeting people, and it's like little intrinsic kind of a thing. Please, Rama, tell me, you said something about your background and that there was nothing like this before. What was it in your educational or personal background which encouraged you to go ahead for this? Apart from the fact that there was a need in the market out here and there was a gap which you found, how did you think personally that you will be able to fulfill this gap?
Okay. Looking at my own background, looking at what I was at 17, confused, unsure about what to do, I realized that there are lots of people just like me at that age. And I used to work with the Indian high school at that time. And I had met with so many students. And I also went out for exhibitions and met so many students from all parts of the world, because in Dubai is actually like a melting pot with over 180 nationalities. And when you go and interact with people, it is across the board. This feeling of, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right path for me? Am I going to be stuck if I choose something today? It's a genuine kind of a fear. And so I felt that empowering people to make their own decisions, giving him or her the information necessary to kind of start a journey that is a lifelong journey. I mean, you and I also, we are still learning. It's not possible to have a full stop. There's nothing like, yes, I'm done, because we are constantly upgrading our skills. We will need to do that to stay relevant, because every single day there are new innovations. We also see right now we are embracing technology. Last year at this time, if somebody said, I'm going to be doing a meeting on Google Meets, I would have said, yeah. But see, that's what we're doing today, right?
Yes, so, adapting and evolving both. Very true.
And also, one more thing I'd like to add, there are a lot of counselors now in schools and colleges here, right here. And one really nice thing that we've been able to do is to start a WhatsApp network. So it's called Counselors Eye. And using this platform, a lot of information sharing happens. So if I know of a particular scholarship being offered somewhere, then I would put it up there saying, hey, girls and guys, you have a student who will fit the bill, then please, this is the link. If I know that Emirates Environment Group is having a conference that will be beneficial to students, then I would put it there. So everybody shares, and I really, really believe that collaboration is key. You know, information needs to be shared. And the more we do that and practice this collaborative effort, it is not only for ourselves, but for the greater good, you know, and it helps us in the process.
Right. Actually, I would have asked you this question about from where you get your information and stuff, which I will still ask you. But one of the methods you said is this WhatsApp group. And I'm so amazed at it because I never thought, I mean, you know, you have this alumni and you have chartered accountants groups and you have these various professional bodies who get together and support each other. But a counselors group is something which is completely new to me. And I must say that it's a great effort because ultimately at some point you people are holding the torch and leading the way for the students who are from this area, from this region, and who will, you know, carry the message because they're mostly their children who are grown up here, and definitely they need to understand where they will fit in into any other part in the world. So I looked at your website and I saw that you had some PhD student, a student who had joined for PhD. I saw some that who had joined for engineering. So that means you don't really have any specialization as such. So for getting so much information about various different courses, how do you manage the time to do research, or what is the process that you go through?
Okay, so it is not something that what I have found is that you don't just have an hour in a day, but it is a conscious effort all through the time, or throughout, you know, so I subscribe to various journals, I look at LinkedIn, I look at various portals, and also because of my network with individuals who are admissions directors, who are people who are in the industry, as well as people who are responsible for scholarships and things. They keep me informed, they give me updated information. Not just me, but anybody who is aware and wants to become more aware, so that they give different options to students. So through all of those channels, I keep telling my students, unless we are lifelong learners, we will be dodos, we will become extinct. We have to have this as an intrinsic part of who we are. You know, the more we learn, the better able we are to make people take informed choices. Yesterday evening, I had a teacher from one of the top schools here. She had come with her son, with her husband and son, and they were like, they've already got an admission, but committing to that admission to a very top-notch university, before taking that decision, they just needed to hear it from someone else, you know, that yes, go ahead, don't worry. So instead of saying, making the decision for them, I gave them all the pros and cons, and I said, the decision is yours. End of the day, it is not for me to decide, it is for the student, right? Because although we can tell them many things, it is that person who is going to take the journey for the next 3 to 4 years. And he or she has to make an informed decision based on various factors. What is the quality of the education? What is the program? What are the subjects? What are the extracurriculars being offered? What is the country like? All of that, you know. So it's not just about, many times people think it's about the reputation and ranking. I think we have to look beyond that. It's not the only criteria for deciding. You have to be aware of what else is out there. Example is the pandemic. Now, during the pandemic, what did the universities have in place to help their international students? Was it possible for them to help them relocate? Was it possible for them to help those students get food? Was it possible for them to be secure? All of these things. It is important because our families are spending a lot of money sending them away, far, far away to various countries. So, and this decision is being made with a lot of thought, right? So we have to be very conscious, and definitely when something like this, which is uncertainty, comes, that's when everybody takes stock of the situation and is going to look at it with a lot more emphasis than ever before.
Right. So a student's journey starts with you maybe 12 to 18 months before they actually head out to college. Is that right? Would that be an average number?
Yeah. So what happens is people come to me even in 9th grade because they are unsure of what sort of subjects to choose. For example, in the British curriculum, they need to choose their subjects in grade 9. So then they have a confusion whether they should do this or this and what is the best way forward. So it really depends on unique individual needs. But when it is related to the admission guidance, from 9th grade, everything matters. So what are the extracurriculars? What are the things that interest you? What's your personality like? Are there gaps in your learning? Are there areas that you can improve upon? So when you are more aware of those things, you can start building those areas that may be not your as much of a strength as some of the other things. For example, many of the students in this part of the world have stopped reading. They don't read. Now, when you go to university, they have to read a hell of a lot. And they have to make their own notes. They have to create their own critique. They have to prepare their own. And the more they read, the better able they will be. They will be better prepared for university. So some of the things that I talk to them about are these things, It is necessary to watch stuff on Netflix or Prime and all of that. Yes, because it gives you a lot of information. It also entertains. But then there are certain other things that reading can provide, which I feel students in this part of the world are not taking advantage of. Let me put it that way.
I think overall reading has, in every part of the world, I think reading is reduced. And then maybe now again, people are back into reading. So a question which I'm just thinking of, probably when you and I, when we were young, internships were not so important. I mean, you just led a happy life as a school child and as a college, and then you went in. But now internships seem to be on top of the mind for children, I don't know, as young or as old. I don't want to give an age to it. What do you think about it, internships in general, and how important do you think it is?
I give a lot of emphasis on internships for two reasons. One is that a young person, rather than have a bookish knowledge about the particular profession, will actually get a peek into that profession when he or she goes and works in that environment. That person may not be doing all the huge professional things, but will have an exposure to the things that particular profession entails, right? So, for example, 2 years ago, I had this student who's now taken up economics, but when she was in grade 11, she always thought she wanted to be a lawyer because she had done a lot of Model United Nations. She was good with debate and all of that. So all of them said, people said that you would make a very good lawyer. So she spent a summer working as an intern in a law firm in India. But at the end of it all, and she used to watch a lot of various serials like Suits and
I know.
Things. So that kind of influenced her. And Grisham was her favorite author and all of that. But when she actually worked there, she realized, oh my God, I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life.
Right.
So she came back to me and she said that while it sounds really interesting and all of that, I feel that's not really my profession. If that knowledge comes to you because of your having done an internship, that's also very good learning, right?
Right. Right.
So
Of course.
the other thing about internships is that it can also validate your aspirations. Supposing you always wanted to take up finance, for example, and then you work in a bank or you work in a financial institution, all the number crunching that you do will also tell you, yes, this is the one for me. I'll give you my own son's example. After his 10th grade, he worked in my grandfather's firm. We have a chartered accountancy firm back in Calicut, and he was very clear. His school told us he is really science material. His class teacher was really pushing us to have him take on science. But we were firm. We said we want him to take what he believes in and what he thinks is a good fit. And today, that's what he is doing. He is actually an accountant employed with a company here, and he enjoys it.
That's you have a very valid point out there. So you did say some time back that you are. I mean, I know you're on LinkedIn, and do you on LinkedIn do you have a page for Counseling Point, or just as your personal profile? That's all.
Only a personal profile.
Personal profile. And have you thought of making a LinkedIn page for the company, or not yet?
I haven't thought of it yet. I have a page on Facebook
Right.
wherein I put in a lot of information on current trends in education. I put in latest rules in terms of visa regulations. I put up some stories of my own students if they have done something which is worthy of emulation. If there have been challenges, those also I put up. So that, it's not all hi, ha, ha, hoo, hoo. It's also, it's also, there are also people who have come back because of various reasons, maybe financial, maybe homesickness, all of that. So yes, people always want to glamorize having studied somewhere, or, we only talk about the good things, but we also need to understand there's good, the bad, and the ugly. There are shades of gray that nobody talks about. And it is important because when a person goes through something like that, and if it has impacted his or her mental well-being, it may even leave a scar, so we need to be aware.
So it's more to be ready with expectations as what it is going to be like, and then you go ahead and do it. Like you said, it's not just the hunky-dory part of it. So so we have LinkedIn, we have Facebook, and do you do Instagram? Do you have Instagram?
Yeah, also not through the company. It's my personal.
It's your personal profile. So you are the personal brand, the representative, and everything for Counseling Point. Do you have anybody working with you, or you just manage yourself?
I'm a one-woman army.
That's so great. That is so great. But I'm sure it takes a lot of your time and energy. But then again, the students' involvement, which is there, it has to be a one-on-one. I think that is the only way in which people would, kind of feel more confident, because sharing that with other people, it doesn't come so easily. And if the word of mouth is for you, though the company is you and you're the company, but still it's your personality and your personal involvement in the whole process, which probably keeps the thing going. So I was just thinking about the fact you have a website as well. Yeah. So
yes, I do.
And yeah, you have a website, and I know that you do a lot of talks and you have a lot of media coverage, and you go to fairs. You said you go to educational fairs and things. So do you put up a stand in the educational fairs, or do you just go to visit them?
Okay, so I'm a counseling partner with the Gulf Education and Training Exhibition, with the Sharjah Chambers International Education Show, as well as NAJA, which is in Abu Dhabi. So what happens at these places is that they give me a stand so that I meet with a lot of families. And I also distribute my book, which is called Head Start for Higher Studies. So the book has a lot of invaluable information that with websites and things. So students who are quite comfortable doing the whole thing on their own are equipped with the tools. End of the day, if they want to do it on their own, it's fine. They can look at all
Right.
the websites and go ahead with it. Sometimes students need a little bit more of a hand holding. So then they come back to me and then so I've had students and parents who've met me at an exhibition 6 years ago and kept my visiting card. You feel
Right.
so
So
humbled, it's a humbling thing to feel that, okay, so yes, my son was only in 8th grade, but we took your card and we thought when the time is right, we'd come to you, and
wonderful,
that to me
wonderful.
is, yes, I feel. And right now I'm helping those students whose siblings I had helped in the past, or cousins I've helped in the past. So
You're
it's
part of
that
their
way.
families. You're part of their families now.
I guess.
Yeah, it's wonderful and so nice to hear this. Is there
I,
some message which you want to share for the parents? Do you want to give out a message for the parents?
I really wish parents are. I know they all are supportive, and I do know that everybody wants their best for their children. And what happens is that constantly we as parents compare our childhood with that of our children. Now, there we have to understand that their realities are different from ours. The time that we grew up is no more there. We have moved on. So it's not fair to our children to kind of constantly compare and say, we did this and we did that, because they don't have those opportunities today. And so we need to give them opportunities to find introspect, to understand themselves better, because more than external influence, you have to be in a position to understand yourself better, to make choices. And the more you have awareness about yourself and the things around, better able you will be to take a conscious decision. Now, I always tell students, when you go to an exhibition, it's not that immediately you're going to enroll, say, I don't want to name any particular institution, all of them are there. But doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to enroll in X, Y, or Z because you're influenced by that marketing person who spoke very highly. It is for you to store some information for later use. You will understand that, okay, if I go here, I have this study abroad. They have the student exchange. Oh, that's very nice. Oh, I may get a scholarship if I go there. Or whatever it is that kind of resonates with you, you
Right.
retain that information and put it in your brain for future use. So I would encourage parents to take children for different kinds of young adults for different, children don't like to be called children, young adults, to different kinds of events like these, so that they are better aware of opportunities, and then when the time is right for them to make their own choices. We
Right.
also, through this international education show, I have been very lucky the last 2 years. Of course, because of Corona, it kind of put a spoke in the wheel. And last year we couldn't do it. No, sorry, last year we did it. That was the last time we did it. Um, through the Sharjah school authority, private school authority, we reached out to a whole lot of schools in the Sharjah region and gave talks. I actually physically went to different schools and spoke about the importance of early planning. It was not about promoting Counseling Point. It was
Right.
about getting students, most of these were Arab students, to think about, plan their future, planning their future. Because what happens in this part of the world is usually families decide only after the board results come, or rather the school final. So that's when they decide, okay, we go to HCT, we go to Zayed, we go to AUS, whatever. But it is imperative that the journey begins earlier, not too late,
Right.
so that you have more variety of choices.
Right. And I would have actually asked you your message for students, but I think you've just about summarized that as well. So thank you so much for your time, and I wish you all the very best, and wish all the students who want to reach out to you and to the families that may they have a lovely, fulfilling journey, which would be kind of where you're the catalyst for them. And all the very best. Thank you so much for your time. And I'll say bye to you now, and we'll meet again in another forum. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And I wish you the very best, because you're doing a lot of, marketing. You're actually putting into practice all of the things that you're trying to teach. So
thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Very kind words. Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.